So we're in the queen rearing apiary again. We've got some help today. Pete's over here helping, doing some inspections of all the nucs, and we're starting to treat with Apivar. So this is the Amitraz active ingredient strips that we're going to use. If you've got brood in a box, then it can take up to 10 weeks for the treatment, so it's quite a long treatment. But what I do like about them is that it tends not to affect the bees in any real way. I guess the other extreme to that would be Miteway quick strips, where you get an instant reaction from the bees. So the Apivar, first of all, to check that it's in date, which it is. It comes in these foil packs, and they come as 2 strips, so there's 5 strips in total, and if I can get it out of the pack, it comes as 2 strips which you can bend and then tear apart. They're perforated down the middle, and they have a small tab, a V-shaped tab cut into them, so that you can hang them in between 2 frames. So we're going to treat all of the nucs. We've got 6 frame nationals and 5 frame commercials, and we're going to put 2 strips in each of those across the brood box, because all of these colonies are really strong at the moment. But this colony that I'm stood beside in the BS Honey 2-in-1 nuc, I think has still got a divider, so I think we've got 2 queens here. So we're going to have a quick look just to see, and if we have got 2 queens still, if the divider is still in place, then what we'll do is we'll put 1 strip on either side so that we can treat both sides, but we don't want to overdose them. So yeah, so we've got 2 queens. You can see we've still got the black Corex divider along the middle here, and so what we don't want to do is to put 2 strips across 3 frames. So we just need to put it in where the brood is. So we'll do an inspection, see if we can find a queen, and then we'll pop the treatments in. So these are parts of the queen rearing nucs that we had just a few weeks ago, and we've got lots of brood here, and these are probably ready to go into another hive, or have the queen removed and unite the 2. So that's something else that we could do if we find the queen, because we do have a couple of colonies that could do with a new queen. So again, lots of stores and lots of brood, lots of eggs. Can't see the queen down on the side wall. So it's just this one last frame to have a look at. And again, lots of brood. Big slab of food on this side, which is fantastic. But I don't see the queen, so we'll pop this frame back in. And what I'll do is I'll just check the other side to see if I can find the queen in here, because if I can find the queen in this side, then we can remove her and unite the 2, and then we can treat them at the same time. So it's just a case of seeing what you're presented with when you come through the inspections. Now I'm not going to pop this last frame in just yet. We'll just ease a frame out from this side, because if I find the queen and we can pop her into a queen cage, then I'll want to take that divider out. So I don't want to pop a frame back and then find that I've got to take it out again. So I can't see her on this frame. Just have a look down the bottom edge. Let's just pop that here. Now remembering, of course, that I've swapped these 2 frames side to side. I seem to recall that last week I struggled a little bit to find the queens in these colonies. I'm pretty certain that I've marked them, but as I say, they were being a bit elusive. I don't see the queen there. And sometimes it seems that you can search and search and search and never actually find the queen. So another great big frame of stores here, which looks terrific, but no queen. So I'm in no mad rush to take the queens out of this colony. I'm just trying to stop crushing bees with this frame down the side there. So we'll just treat them, one last look, we'll treat them as if they are, well, exactly what they are, which is 2 3-frame nucs. And we'll put 1 strip of the Apivar treatment in each side. One final look across this frame, but I don't see her there. It would actually be quite interesting to see if in fact a 3-frame nuc in this configuration would overwinter, so maybe we'll try that with perhaps one of these colonies. So we'll slide this one back in nice and gently, and then this one, let's have one more look through this nuc just to see if we can spot the queen. Trying not to use too much smoke on them because that has a tendency to drive the queens off the frames as well. But no, can't see the queen. No doubt we'll freeze frame the video at some point and she'll be sat in the middle of one of these frames, but there we go. So, I haven't seen the queen, so we can just close these up. Just give them a bit of a wiggle so we're not crushing bees. A little bit of smoke. We got our queen on this frame. No, so we'll slide this frame in nice and gently, trying not to roll any bees. I don't want to shake the bees off, because if the queen is on there and I happen to shake them and she ends up on the wrong side of the Corex board, we end up with 1 3-frame nuc with 2 queens, where there's going to be a fight and one of them's going to die, and then 1 3-frame nuc with no queen. So let's just get the 2 strips. So doing a rough calculation, 3rd of August today, these strips will come out in 10 weeks time, which is about the 12th of October, believe it or not. So there's 1 strip in, and that's how it hangs. So when we put the roof on, the lid on, it will just push that down a little bit. They do also have a hole in them, so you can pin them to the side of a frame if that's your preferred choice, and as long as it sits in between a frame which has 2 frames that has brood on either side, then that's fine. I'm just going to give this a little bit of smoke and just scrape off some of this wax that's built up. Just try and avoid crushing some bees, and then it sits down a little bit easier. Okay, so there we are. We've got our Apivar strips in. Try and get rid of as many bees off the top so we don't crush too many. That is one of the only problems with some of these poly boxes. They do have a tendency to crush bees when you pop them back on. So then that sits nicely on top, and then we've got our 2 strips in there and everything's sorted. I do have a house brick here that I put on top just to keep the top down so it doesn't blow off. And that's our inspection done. So we've completed our inspection. We've had a quick look for the queens. Can't find the queen in there, so we'll just have to have a look next time. And we've now inserted the Apivar strips. Now, a couple of things to note. As I mentioned, it's a 10-week treatment with frames of brood in there. So that does in fact take us to the 12th of October. So on our inspection notes, we need to make a note for future reference so that those strips have to come out on the 12th of October. And also, it's important that you treat all of the colonies in the same apiary at the same time. That's also going to help with remembering to take the strips out. And finally, you can't use Apivar when you have honey on the hives. So we couldn't be using this treatment in the apiary around the corner, which is our drone donor colonies, because we've still got honey on them. But when we take the honey off next week, we'll immediately then start treating all of those colonies as well. There are lots of other treatments out there. If you go down the route of treating your bees, there's the thymol-based products along with all the other treatments that are readily available. And it'd be interesting to hear from you what treatments you're going to use, if any, over this autumn. If you've got any questions, pop them beneath the video and we'll catch up next time. Thanks for watching.